If you're struggling with a lack of energy and you don't even have enough energy to reach the goals that you desire the absolute most, then watch this video because I'm about to share with you some very unorthodox approaches in increasing your energy levels. Let's dive in. A year ago today, I was on the verge of having a complete and absolute utter mental breakdown. And the reason because of this was I was so low on energy, I was completely exhausted. Now, after trying to get this issue fixed for a number of years and going to countless doctors who kept on wanting to claim that it was depression, I, in my gut instincts, knew that it was actually caused by something else. And this is what set me out on my latest mission to write my brand new book coming out in October, The Identity Gap. I realized I had a gap between the energy that I had and the energy that I actually required to meet the demands of the goals that I wanted to achieve, including moving to the US, where I am now. Now, in this process, I discovered that there are various factors that doctors don't typically look at unless you go to a functional doctor who looks at the complete body as a whole system. And here's what I discovered during my experiments. First of all, there are 3 types of energy required for us to feel alive and feel awake. The first is spiritual, second, psychological, and third, biochemical. When each of these 3 components line up, we head in the right direction. Think of it like coming up to a T-junction. Your soul and your soul's purpose wants to turn right, but biochemically, you're out of whack, and biochemistry is leading you to turn left. Now, when it wants you to turn left, that's when your brain has put you into self-preservation mode. So your brain is actively attempting to reserve and preserve the energy resources you have left for vital bodily functions. Now, if you were to follow your soul's purpose and turn right, that's obviously going to require a lot of energy. So the brain does not prioritize that whatsoever. That doesn't even get a rating. Now, there are various factors that can lead to low energy. Now, the first one, which may surprise some of you, is food sensitivities. In my mission, I realized that there were certain foods that I was reacting to. Now, I was having trouble pinpointing precisely what those foods were, but I had a bit of an idea. So what I did is I went and actually got a food sensitivity test done. Now, these vary from country to country. This particular one is through Everlywell here in the US. Now, I had the great honor of interviewing the director and the owner of Everlywell only a couple of weeks ago. And they actually picked up one of the largest investments on Shark Tank, which is incredible. Now, the great thing with doing a food sensitivity test, such as this one, it doesn't matter which one you do, just get it done, is that you can get it sent to your home, you do the blood prick test, and when the results come back, it can help you to specifically pinpoint exactly which foods may be causing you some issues. Now, when it comes to food sensitivity, this is very different than a food allergy. So a food allergy could send you into anaphylactic shock if you've got it, and peanuts is obviously a big one for many people. But there are other foods that can trigger inflammation if we have some kind of sensitive reaction to it. Now, the first place that inflammation shows up is unfortunately the brain. Now, this can have an effect on a very real cognitive state. So that can impede everything from your ability to think clearly, how much energy you have throughout the day. It can trigger fatigue, and it can also see your energy levels fluctuate up and down. When it comes to your energy levels, some may point you in the direction of depression. In my particular case, and I'm not saying it's in everyone's case, you must speak to your doctors about this, but in my particular case, I realized that I wasn't tired because I was depressed. I was in fact depressed because I was tired. And that's where I put all of my research and emphasis on. If I'm tired, what are the underlying causes of that fatigue? Because once I fix that fatigue, then that should by default also happen to fix the depression. When you speak to a doctor about depression, make sure you speak to a functional doctor. Their core objective should be to get you off antidepressants if you're on them right now, but it should be done under advisement. They should be looking at anything that is triggering that kind of response. So we're talking nutritional deficiencies as well as potential food sensitivities that could be causing it. Number 2, balance your gut microbiome. Several years ago, I went on a holiday to Thailand. Before that holiday, I had an abundance of energy, but when I landed back home in Australia, my energy level quickly declined. Now, a few weeks ago, I spoke to the medical director as well as one of the co-founders of a company here in the US called Thrive. Now, Thrive do gut health tests. Now, these gut health tests, yes, super gross, you send off a little piece of fecal matter, not too dissimilar in a kit like this. It gets sent to your home and then you just simply post it back. But with these fecal tests is they can identify the balance of good and bad bacteria within your gut microbiome. The gut microbiome regulates our energy levels, and there's also more connections being found almost every single week through research papers between our gut microbiome and our psychology. If your gut microbiome is being affected and you're experiencing digestive issues, this can have a very real psychological effect on how you feel throughout the day, as well as your energy levels. There's nothing worse, as you probably know, feeling bloated and lethargic because there's something going on with your stomach constantly. Make sure that you balance your gut by eating healthy, clean foods, a variety of foods so you have a variety of bacteria, as well as eating foods such as kimchi, drinking kombucha, and making sure you get a really good probiotic. Now, the probiotic that I get is actually personalized based on the gut health results that I received to balance out what I was lacking. And having this very real statistical evidence to back up how you're feeling can help you make strategic decisions to fix the problem. To select a good probiotic, make sure that you select one out of the refrigerator section in your health food store. Majority of the probiotics have been found through research in the last few years not to contain what they actually say they contain on the outside of the bottle. So make sure you get a refrigerated one. They're far more effective than the dry tablets themselves. There are different probiotic formulas that are being created by doctors. Dr. Perlmutter is a good one. I also recommend Thrive, which is THRYVE.com. Number 3, you know it, reduce stress. If you're being triggered by stress on a daily basis, it could also be engaging your fight or flight function. Now, when your fight or flight function goes on, our focus narrows and our adrenaline starts to rev up to either fight the situation or flee it. If it's always turned on, you've always got that adrenaline coursing through your body, so you never get a rest from that. And second of all, when fight or flight is engaged, your cortisol levels go up, which are linked to stress. If your fight or flight is stuck in the on position, it could eventually lead to severe fatigue and eventual and complete and utter burnout. When you look at your daily environment and your day-to-day activities, what is causing you stress right now? Is it the actual event itself, or is it how you're perceiving that event? If we can break some patterns in how we react to stressful situations, all of a sudden our shoulders relax, we feel better about ourselves, and our energy levels improve also. Now, if you want to learn about how to interrupt patterns that trigger stress, make sure you check out my last video, and I cover a few powerful techniques in there. And number 4, what's your sleep quality like? For the last few months, I have been trialing a device called the Oura Ring. So this is O-U-R-A. Now, with the Oura Ring, it has various different sensors that take the wearable technology to a completely different level. This in fact tracks respiration, body temperature. By tracking body temperature, you can see via the app if your body temperature is increasing too high or dropping too low. It could signal that you're about to get sick, which means that you can take preventative steps such as upping supplements or even resting more before that sickness or flu takes hold. What was fascinating with this is it tracks your deep sleep patterns. Now, it tracks it in a different way between not just your heart rate, your body temperature, as well as your respiration, and it tracks the different stages of sleep completely differently to what the typical watches do. What I found was that unfortunately, when I first put it on, I was only getting anywhere from 3 minutes to 15 minutes of deep sleep per night. We need at least 1 to 2 hours of deep sleep per night. Deep sleep is connected to memory consolidation. If you're having a stressful day, day after day, and your memories aren't being consolidated, then it's very easy to get overwhelmed because you're carrying everything from the past week or past month through to the current day. This has a very real effect on our cognition as well as our behavior and irritability. Now, there are some simple things that you can do to increase something as such as deep sleep. And one of those I found is to drop the temperature in the room. Now that can be from anywhere from 17 to 20 degrees. What I found in looking at the statistics and the reports are incredibly immersive and accurate with this particular device, is that the second that my temperature dropped, my deep sleep increased. And this actually coincided with getting stuck in Canada for a month in the freezing months of January and December. So make sure you're getting not just the number of hours you require, but the quality of sleep that we need to function effectively so you have enough energy to get through the day. And number 5, what's your stimulant use? Many of us are completely and utterly addicted to caffeine. Some of us are sensitive to caffeine, hence you should do the food sensitivity test. But when it comes to caffeine, what we find is that yes, it will spark your energy levels, as will sugar, but your energy levels will be sparked, but then suddenly you'll experience a crash not long after that, at which point many ingest another cup of coffee and their energy levels go up again. But that creates an inconsistent flow of energy throughout the day. Experiencing that is also really exhausting because it affects your moods. Other steps that you can try and take is to make sure that you're eating clean foods, energy-rich foods, nutritionally rich foods to help even out not just your mood but your energy level. Secondly, look into supplementing with MCT oils. So MCT oils are known to increase ketones. When the brain is running on ketones, it's like running on a clean energy source. You don't get the crashes, the ups and downs that you do when you run on refined carbohydrates or sugars, for example. When you can even out those spikes in your energy, overall your energy should start to increase within a few weeks. If you've loved the tips in this video, be sure to subscribe, like, and share with someone that they could genuinely assist. Also, be sure to head over to theidentitygap.co. That's theidentitygap.co to get updates on my upcoming book, The Identity Gap, that will be out through Entrepreneur Magazine and Press in October of this year. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.